interest or awareness?
Yeah, so I was the schoolhouse captain, and now I am a member of environmental club. So we organize events wherein we promote this idea of sustainable development, because it's really necessary now. It's become like a necessity only. Sustainable development should be implemented everywhere. So yes, I organize a lot of events on sustainable development and also topics like inclusivity of schools in
That's a
schools.
wonderful step as a student, as a conscious and a responsible student. Great going there. So with the same question forward, I think we as stakeholders, my question goes to Poonam. Poonam ma'am, you tell me, like, Dave says that he's already doing his bit in his periphery as a student. How can we, as counselors or educators, raise this kind of awareness amongst our students about the importance of SDGs and the inclusion as well?
Yeah. For the students, for them, for us counselors, for us to guide the students, we have to first kind of, ask them to really understand, look up what it is, what are the 17 SDGs. They have to really get informed about these global goals, because only when they understand what it's all about is when they can start working towards the agenda. Then the students, we can ask them to educate their friends, their families, the community on these global goals. Then it see the reality of it, what it means to your community and your country, like how which ones do really apply to your surroundings, to your community, and in which you can really make a difference and raise some kind of awareness. They have to also give their time and skills for this. uh, Also, once if you're working towards the agenda, you also have to inculcate the same ethic within your own life as well. So learn to simplify and live within your means. Be mindful when you're using electricity, when you're using water, when you're start with composting at home. Start You can start involving yourself in this and involving these principles in your daily life as well. Then take action, do fundraising activities, spread awareness on social media, your Instagram handles. You can create podcasts on Spotify. So these are the various ways in which we can motivate our students to work towards the SDGs. Also, while we are on this, even within our colleagues, we can educate our co-workers. We can have fundraising campaigns at work for underprivileged children, joy of giving, empowering, some kind of events where we collect funds to empower women. We can have some kind of workshops for the women from underprivileged backgrounds. Then we can kind of motivate people to get into more into volunteering, and basically source in a school we can responsibly source all the materials that we get for our stationery and other items. Ensure there is zero wastage in the kitchens. Promote recycling. We already have in most schools we have recycling activities, but really take it up as an agenda. Composting, all the kitchen waste can be put into composting. Children can be encouraged to learn how to do composting. Rainwater harvesting, introducing solar panels. There are a lot of things which we can there are a lot of activities which we can plan to promote SDGs in our school, within students and our co-workers.
That's really, really very, very awesome that you are doing small steps to inculcate the habits, because it's the habit that matters. Once it's there in their habit, I'm sure the students develop that kind of attitude. And therefore, this attitude makes the difference. So I'm so happy, Poonam, that your school and you are creating opportunities of unlimited learning for these young budding youth of today. That's a great thing. So coming to you, Pooja. Pooja, please tell us what, according to you, are some barriers that you see in your institution?
Sure. So I think when it comes to barriers and challenges, there are many, but I would like to very briefly talk about two that I personally face being a part of the institution that I'm attached to. So the first is time. So I think because we have adopted a systems approach towards fulfilling SDG goals, which means that we would want all of our stakeholders, students, teaching staff, non-teaching staff, support staff, our students' parents, all of us aligned in our approaches and practices. However, doing this takes a lot of time, and getting that kind of time is very challenging, given that our students also come to us with many learning and academic gaps that we need to. Sometimes ensuring that adequate time is devoted to everything becomes very challenging. And the second barrier or challenge, I would say, is mindsets, because moving into any new way of life requires a bit of a mindset shift, which is never an easy task. Given that so many of us have been doing things a certain way for so long, making changes to our approaches as well as our habits is a long process. But we are committed to going on this journey, however long and challenging it is. And we have started to see small changes. So, whether it is to do with using water more judiciously, segregating waste, or even having discussions about gender with, their parents. When we see our students doing all of this, it just gives us immense pleasure and a sort of reassurance that we're moving in the right direction.
That's a great insight. I think, Pooja, you are doing a wonderful job, just like what Poonam said, that you are creating the awareness and also the opportunities. And we as stakeholders have a very different point of view at times. What, according to they, is something that excites the student? Do you
Oh
think
yeah.
whatever we plan for the school, whatever we enforce you people to do, the young students to do, are all the things in line with your excitement and adventure? Or is there something that you feel is a gap and we as educators need to fill that?
Yeah. So students are entrusted to work on assignments which assist them to showcase their talent and bring out their creative side, and not just test them on academics. Also, projects which give them the discretion to come up with new ideas and make a difference. Those are the projects, and I feel, see, the gap is not there. Gap is just there should be someone who is giving them those tasks, and we all can start doing these things, and start implementing this idea of inclusivity and sustainability, because someone has to start it. So we can't just sit there and think about the gaps. We have to start, and we have to make some action and do something about it.
Very true. I think this is where the mindset, what madams, both the teachers have, discussed about it. It's
Yes.
the mindset that matters. There are two kinds of mindsets. One is the fixed mindset that would always find out faults and gaps, and also would find out the excuses for not doing, right? But while there is one progressive mindset which would say, okay, this time I failed, let me try one more attempt and let me see where was I wrong. So that is the kind of mindset that is required for
Yes.
such big agendas. So do you want to throw a poll here, Dave, to see what our audience has to say?
Of course, of course. Just 1 second. I'm going to make that visible. So everybody who's here, you can take this poll. I'm just going to make it visible. Yeah. So I hope you all can see it. And the question is, do you think value of inclusivity is necessary in schools? So please go ahead and give your inputs. I think Vandana ma'am, you can continue till the time they can give their inputs and they can think about it.
So do we not wait for their inputs first?
I think, I don't know, maybe Poonam ma'am or Pooja ma'am can suggest.
Okay.
Oh, so 100% people are saying that yes, that's amazing.
Wow. So would you
And
like to talk a little more about it, Dave, now?
no, I'm just going to be thankful, and I'm glad that people my age are also thinking about the same topic and the value of inclusivity.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say that the best way we can predict the future is by creating it. So, as Vandana ma'am said, and as all the panelists here are saying, you have to take the action. You have to go out there and do something. You have to be the first one. and unless and until we take that action, nothing is going to happen. So that development starts with you.
Exactly. I think it's all about mapping our minds and building the capacities within our own selves, right? So here I come to Miss Poonam. Miss Poonam, could you throw some light on equality versus equity in the college admissions in the light of SDGs or even beyond that?
Okay. I would like to share a picture with you. It's a very powerful picture which will explain what the point I'm trying to make. So, give me 2 minutes. Okay. This is the picture. Can you all see the picture?
Yeah.
So this sums up equality versus equity in one frame. So there are many ways we can define equity. Uh, if you look at the dictionary, what it says in the dictionary, it is justice according to natural law or right, and freedom from bias and favoritism. But when we talk about equity in education or college admissions, we generally mean similar to fairness. So let me just kind of concentrate on the equity in education in general. The lot has been made of the difference between equity and equality. While equality means treating every student the same, equity means making sure every student has the support they need to be successful. So, equity in education requires putting systems in place to ensure that every child has an equal chance for success. This requires understanding of the unique challenges every child or the barriers faced by every child or individual student or by population of students, and providing additional support where required to help them overcome these barriers. While this itself may not ensure equal outcomes, but we should strive to ensure that every child has equal opportunity for success. So that is extremely important.
Very nice.
I'm really sorry to interrupt, ma'am, but Varshita has written a question in the chat. So if any one of us can go ahead and answer it.
What do you think is the best way to measure economic welfare? Who would like to take this? Pooja, would you like to? Because your school ethos matches with this.
Sure, thank you. I will explain a little bit about how we tend to look at economic welfare in our school. Thank you for that question, Varshita. I think because we are a school and education is always at the core of whatever we do, uh, our our way of looking at economic welfare is again in the context of education. So we look at what are all of those indicators within a student's family that will provide conducive learning environments to the students. So whether that comes to accessibility to devices that is now required for online learning, or access to the internet, which is very very important to be able to do anything online these days, or whether it comes to the income levels, the or the medical support or the financial backing available to them for any kind of medical support and health support that they might require. How comfortable are they to be able to provide themselves with the basic necessities? For us, we feel like expecting a student to perform well academically, to engage and be consistent, is actually very unfair and arrogant if they are unable to even know with clarity as to where their next meal is coming from. So I think we look at all of those indicators and all of those factors that we think are direct or indirect um, influencers of a student's learning environment, and that's how we view economic welfare in the context of education. I hope
Excellent.
that helps.
Varshita, is your question clear or you want some more clarity? Right. So from this point, we'll go a little more deeper Not exactly deeper, but we'll go a little practical because Varshita has raised this question that she is in class 9 and how can she contribute? So, my dear children, let us first understand that we need not make very big contributions in this. We are very young enough. But what we need to realize our potentials are that we all are creative. You all are creative. You all have the energy, abundance energy. You have some idealistic ideas. You should be optimistic about the future. And you should be making some global commitments, making some meaningful contributions, changing your mindset, starting with very small bits like what Miss Pooja and Miss Poonam focused on, like saving water, saving food, feeding the hungry. These are some small initiatives to start with. And then you will have the potential slowly to be one of the key drivers in this SDGs agenda. I'm sure you can harness your unique power to directly contribute to the SDGs in the coming times. I hope, Varshita, you're getting what we are trying to say. We are trying to say that we need not be super powerful to make those big changes. But what we should be super in our mindset with small conscious attempts in everyday life. I think that will make a big change in itself. Would you agree with this, Dave? Because you are a student, I'm
Absolutely.
sure you are able to connect
And
with.
yeah, and you're absolutely right, ma'am. Those small changes only will contribute to a big change. So, I've mentioned this before, I know, but for those of them who just joined, I would just say that start doing something. Start doing something for the planet, because if you, and don't depend on others. We say now that okay, he will start, he will contribute in a way, and then our planet will be saved. So the biggest threat to our planet is that believing, in fact, that someone else will save it. You have to start.
Exactly. So now, from this point forward, I think we can still talk a little about before we open for the question and answers. There's one more question which is raised by Priyal Oswal, that what should be the developmental goals for 11th and 12th standard students? Would any of you like to take this question?
I feel that let's not tell them that what will be the developmental goals. Let's just ask them that they research about the developmental goals, so that they get a hang of what are the sustainable development goals. Because otherwise, if we will give all the inputs, then the research part will not be done.
Yeah,
So
and learning will, hamper.
learning will not be there. So Priyal, you have to search, and you have to really go deep in the sustainable development topic.
Great. So this is Dave's voice. Dave says that you need not focus on what exactly you should do. Focus and research more, and the right thing will come in your within. Whatever is meant for you, you will automatically be attracted towards that particular area. That's a wonderful insight, Dave. What does Pooja have to say?
Yes, absolutely. So I had a couple of things to share here. I do feel like 11th and 12th standard students are at that cusp of, transitioning into the real world. So they're very much, in the process of leaving a certain shell and entering into the bigger world through their undergraduate studies. So I genuinely feel like because of that, being in that transition mode, all 17 SDGs are really, really important because you now are going to be a more active part of the larger world. But I also know that all of us have our own shortcomings or our own areas of strength and weaknesses because of which working on all 17 are not possible. So I think really taking the time to explore and identify what are those goals that really, really, are very close to your heart. What are the means, opportunities, and resources available to you within, within your scope that might allow you to be proactive towards addressing any of those challenges. So there is no, I wouldn't say that there's a right or wrong answer here. I think it really depends on every individual's own aspirations, ambitions, interests. And I think, like, I completely agree with Dave, doing a little bit of exploration to see where you have an active role to play or where you can be an active contributor is something that would help.
Very true. I agree with you. I agree with Dave. Let us come to Miss Poonam, what she has to say to the audience of today.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. Like first, understand what it's all about. What are the 17 SDG goals? Understand what it's all about and what it means to the community. Then, like as Pooja said, find out around you what can you do, what is possible, what kind of resources you have. See your community where you're living in. See where you can make a difference. There might be different kind of challenges around you. People might be facing different kind of challenges, so just see in your community how you can make a difference. Start with small baby steps and then go ahead, and you will slowly realize that you are making a difference, howsoever small your contribution might be. But all these small contributions together is going to become a big ocean of good possibilities, which will take our world towards very well developed and a better world with equal
Exactly.
opportunities for everyone.
Yeah. Something that comes to my mind from this question and from the conversations that have come to surface from you all, something like, if you ask what should I do being a class 11 student or a class 12 student, so that would perhaps mean that you aim to do things to please people. Do not emphasize on that. We have to please ourselves. Do something, engage in something that gives you joy within, satisfaction within, and that particular task which is giving you the utmost satisfaction is the thing meant for you. Because everywhere, people, we as counselors talk about universities because we are more into counseling. So even in my capacity as a counseling, I keep telling the students, don't do anything just to show to the students or the senior students or the interviewers or the world or the universities. Do something that brings some learning in you, some upgradation in you, some change in you, and then let the university know that this is what I am. So let the world know that this is what I am. I am 11th grader, but I'm still contributing to so and so SDG. So let the agenda be that instead of finding what should I do, that may be a kind of forceful action on you, which you may, think of quitting at a particular point in time. But if you will pick something which your heart prompts, I'm sure you are going to go deeper into it and you're going to make a big contribution into it. That is what I feel that the students should consider more of. So from here, Dave, do you have any particular experience with any of the project that you took which you did not like in the beginning? You tried to move out of the comfort zone and then you started liking it and it brought some rewarding results. Would you like
Yes,
to
so yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question, Vandana ma'am. And there was this one project which was the theme was again sustainable development only. I will be very honest. And in the beginning, I felt, why do I have to do that? You know, that same feeling I was talking about. But later I realized I have to do my bit. I have to start taking the action, and the we had to spread awareness about sustainable development only. So I started focusing on the project, and it was successful. And then after that I realized that yes, we have to do something. We have to go out there, and again we have to do something.
And do you also think that MUNs are a great way to get insights into SDGs as well?
Uh, I have never really participated in an MUN, I will be honest. But yeah, I feel that again, like we were talking about, whatever you feel that it's like your passion. Because when you have that feeling of when you have that determination, or you are passionate about something, you will go forward and continue doing that thing, and it would be successful. I'm sure it would be successful.
That's
So
a great.
if you like to do MUNs, go ahead. Uh, take part on in those MUNs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pooja,
I
what is your intake? Oh, yeah, sorry, Poonam, please continue.
So I feel MUNs are a great way to educate our students on the SDGs because basically they discuss global issues. Each
Exactly.
represents, or two students represent a country, and they get to know about the different issues that a particular country is facing, and then they discuss it in on the global platform, like a UN, this thing, all of them together discussing about the country, the problems which are faced, the issues which are prevalent. So it gives them, they have to research on that particular country, they understand the issues which are there, and that when they discuss it in the meeting, in the conference, then they realize that what kind of issues are there and what kind of solutions, because they also get to know the solutions which can be proposed to overcome these kind of problems and difficulties. So I feel MUNs are a great way for the students to get to know about the SDGs and understand how they can make a difference. So it should, all students, wherever possible, if you get an opportunity, definitely participate in MUNs. Really, it's a great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Pooja, your opinion about it?
Absolutely. I agree with everything that Dev and Poonam have said. I think MUNs are a great way of also building a lot of skills that help in making more authentic contributions in SDG goals. I think when we talk about SDGs, there are so many different layers that we of factors that we need to take into consideration. So right from a particular place's cultural, social context, economic context, there's just so much that we need to understand before we can directly dive into some action. So I feel when you're in an MUN, you get the opportunity to develop that perspective of actually understanding a whole different set of cultures, a whole different set of factors that you may have never thought of before. Um, and linking this back to actually projects that one can do in the area of SDGs. So in our school, we have a homegrown curriculum called LEI, which is Leadership, Entrepreneurship, and India Studies. And a big part of LEI is that our students engage in community projects under LEI every year. So the first step of the community project is to actually spend some time to identify a problem that is relevant in a particular community, rather than us going in with a set of assumptions about what problems a certain community may be facing. So I think when you go into places like MUNs, it does give you the opportunity of actually understanding things from a multitude of perspectives, which I think is very, very important if we want to make real and deep impact, even when it comes to SDG goals.
Very true. In fact, in my school, when I do the counseling sessions and we talk about skill building, and we keep telling as counselors that do what your heart wants, do what interests you. But at times, I do say, do some things forcibly also, because that's how you will learn to come out of a comfort zone. MUN is one thing which I highly recommend, because this is one such area where students learn to research what they want his buddies to be doing, because research is immense in MUNs. Then what Pooja says is that through MUN we get to know a lot of global challenges. So that is where you understand that what kind of problems are prevailing globally. And that is where you realize that where is your heart prompting you. So it not only enhances your profile will come later, that's what I say usually, but it will enhance your listening skills, speaking skills, researching skills, team building skills, networking skills, and critical thinking skills, which is most important in the agenda of SDGs. So my dear students out there, move a little out of your comfort zone and at least do 2 MUNs to start with. For first 2 MUNs, you'll just be sitting there and listening. But from the third MUN, I'm sure you're going to get some indication where to go and where to take the SDGs ahead from this point. This is from my side. So thank you so very much for all of these. Now we come to, as we come to the conclusion of the session, is there anybody who has some more intake or input in the area? Or Poonam or Pooja, would you like to throw another poll? Or do we go a little forward and talk from the point of bite sized message with a little explanation from our conversations today?
I think we could move to the bite sized messages if that's all right.
Sure. So now we are at the conclusion. We've discussed a lot about what are the barriers. We've discussed about what are the probable actions that could be taken. We've talked about inclusivity. We've also talked about sustainable development as a project in the eyes of students. So after all of these discussions, what would you want, Poonam, to give a small bite sized message to our audience today so that today, after going from here, they have something to take from you as a bite sized message to research on or to ponder on?
What I would like to say is the end goal of inclusion is to create diversity. A diverse and inclusive environment will create more innovative, engaged, talented, and a happy community with a forward thinking mindset, which is going to lead to progress for one and all.
Great.
That's my message. Yeah.
Awesome. Pooja, your bite sized message to the audience for the day.
Yes. So I personally feel that educational inclusion is so deeply tied to social, economic, and cultural inclusion. And in order to make a real and lasting impact, we need to adopt a systems thinking approach to develop a sustainable model for inclusion.
Great. Dave, your message to your buddies listening today.
Yes. So I would just like to say that there is no plan B because we do not have a planet B. We have to work and galvanize our action. That's my message to everyone out there.
Awesome.
Also, I am posting a link for a video. It was uploaded by United Nations and it really explains the concept of SDGs. So yeah.
So here we wrap up the session. And before we wrap up today's session, we would like to ask the audience if there are any more questions. Please ask your questions in the chat box. Any questions? Poonam has already given good resources to the audience today. Thank you, Poonam. Thank you so much for that. Dave has also given you a very good link of YouTube. Please, audience, go ahead with researching, listening to these YouTubes, watching these YouTube or the resources shared. I'm sure you'll get better insights and you will get a direction to move forward this point. There are no questions. So here, so from this point, we find that education is one of the bedrocks of SDGs. Otherwise, you do not find platforms outside of their school or the education periphery. Therefore, quality education, it is the quality education that we are receiving. We are so thankful about it. And we have to take it forward by giving the same to someone who doesn't have this facility. So this leads to the significant sustainable development benefits to not only the families or the communities, but our countries and the world by large. So our today's major takeaway from here is that empower yourself, move a little out of your comfort zone, go listen to your own selves also. Mobilize as many people as you can in your surroundings. Sensitize them, give them a taste of what it is, how it is to be done, and see the charisma. Slowly, slowly, people will come. It will become a chain of people joining your hands for a big cause. Thank you. Inclusivity is the key to working on sustainable development goals. Let us all take this avowed goal today that we will mobilize as many students or co-workers as we can, and we'll try to work on every bit from SDGs point of view so that in the coming times we are able to save many lives dying out of hunger and save our planet as well. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
And
so much.
Thank you.
Thank
thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in and for giving us such an insightful discussion. We are very thankful for you. The high school mom is very thankful for to all the panelists.
Thank you so much. It's our pleasure.
Thank you, Peta. Thank you for giving us the opportunity. And it was a wonderful experience working with Pooja, Poonam, and you.
It's our
So
pleasure, ma'am.
stay connected and good luck in this noble cause. To all
Thank
of
you.
You
us.
too, ma'am. You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye, Dev.